What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Supper Suite for another TIFF 2022 interview with the team behind The Swearing Jar. Congratulations. I love your movie. Give me the soundtrack to own and listen to over and over.
I know,
and
right?
over.
She's amazing.
We're going to get to your singing in a minute, but because this is a festival premiere, some of our viewers will not know what your movie is just yet. So would you mind doing the honors and giving a brief description of The Swearing Jar?
Oh my gosh, I'm horrible at this. I feel like you might be better. Do you want to try? It's a story about a woman and her marriage and, you know, the ins and the outs and the ways that things unravel. And it's about forgiveness and moving on and redemption and all of those things together.
You don't have an easy job describing this movie
Thank
because
you.
things happen that are really significant. We're not going to spoil anything here, but things happen that are very significant. So I feel like what you just did was the perfect tease.
I tried. It's difficult.
So this movie is based on a play, correct?
Yeah.
What is something about adapting it to screen that you think brought something out of the story that the stage couldn't? But then also, what is something about adapting a stage play that I guess makes it like difficult to make it cinematic?
Yeah, it was really, for me, it was really interesting. I asked Kate if she had had filmed a version of the play.
Kate is the writer.
Oh yeah, Kate's the writer. You're great at this. And she unfortunately didn't. And so because I was really interested to see how the stage play did it, and how I was going to do it, or how we were going to do it. And I think from play to movie, the main, I really focused in what I tried to do was really focus in on Carey and her journey and really put the film in her perspective. And as you shift through things, you're really experiencing it with her, which I think can only really be done in that medium. I think that would be quite difficult in a play form. So I think it's a really interesting adaptation. Kate's very pleased, and this one is absolutely incredible in the film.
So Kate wrote the play and she wrote the screenplay as well. Why do you think it was important and maybe better off that the original writer was also the screenwriter?
I mean, because it's her baby, yeah.
She knew the story in and out. And she said last night there were more characters in the play and then in the screenplay that I'm just sort of representing her here. But yeah, she said that she kind of focused on the principal role of Carey. That way in film you can kind of be up close with that character and experience what they're going through. But I think also with the music, you know, it was a play with music in it, and it's not necessarily it doesn't feel like a musical, like a classical musical. It feels more akin to something like Once, where music is such a part of the characters' lives. And so I think in film as well, you have the ability to kind of overlap, and you're not moving from musical number to scene so much that they're kind of all, they layer in, yeah.
It's incredibly organic. And one of the other reasons why I really want to own the soundtrack, because nothing excites me more than when I take movie music and I take it on the go and I listen to it, and it can bring me right back to the scene that it corresponds to. And I just have very high hopes that that's going to happen here. Let's just talk about the music. I'm sorry, you hadn't sung before, or did you not know you were as good as you are in this movie? I was reading in the notes that you had never done this before, and I can't compute that.
No, I'd never done this. I mean, of course, we all sing.
Well, yeah.
You know, I sing by myself, but I didn't really have the confidence to, I don't know. It's a very different thing. Like, your relationship with your voice on your own is very different to your, a relationship with your voice and people seeing it or hearing it. And yeah, so I just got this audition and I wasn't sure what they wanted, and so I just recorded myself singing a Leonard Cohen song. I think it was Chelsea Hotel, and then
beautiful.
I took some singing lessons, and here we are.
Oh my God. I don't want to say this because I want you to act in movies all the time, because that's what I focus on, but you can legit have a whole nother career, because seriously, your singing is incredible.
Really sweet.
I can't wait for your album to drop.
I mean, honestly, I would sit here and wait for that if you said you would do it. I think the note said you worked with 2 singing coaches for this, right?
Yeah, I worked with 2 different singing coaches that I got referred to through friends, and I did like a vocal warm up for an hour every day, and that is so fun and amazing. And yeah, and then I was so lucky that we had Tim Williams, who was our composer, who's so experienced, and he really like I'd never recorded in a studio before, so that first like day and a half, I just did not know. Like I was like, it's a technique I'd never like practiced before, and he was really helpful. So.
Having studied with singing coaches, is there anything about what that taught you about what you can do with your voice that you're able to apply to either voice acting or just any form of acting in general?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm so like I like the science part of it, so I was like, yeah, I mean, I could go on for hours about like I had this incredible teacher, Erica, who just like took me through, you know, how to move between the different ranges and, you know, where, yeah, it was amazing.
That stuff fascinates me because I admire singing so much. And like, I know music, like I know when something is on key, but I can't physically like make my voice do that. So that fascinates me.
You can, like, it's like,
you don't know me or my singing voice very well.
But yeah.
I feel like I should study one day and actually learn. And you did the singing live on set, even though you recorded some elements in a studio, right?
Yeah. It was. Yeah, I can't fully remember, but yeah, you were singing into microphone.
Yeah, we had the music, you know, and then we worked with the guitarist and we rehearsed for a week with Douglas, myself, Tim, and this incredible guitarist Justin. Yeah. And you know, we were sort of establishing the songs, establishing the tempo, you know, what like the songs from the musical, you know, in film we changed tempo, we changed pitch, you know, pitch and things like that. And then once we had the songs established, then we could take that into filming. I mean, it's complicated, but it was really fun. And then we had the option to use the live version or the studio recording.
Always good to have as many options as you can.
Yes.
And we kind of mixed between the two when we were mixing them. Because I liked a lot of the live stuff, like you.
I know, and I was like, please don't.
Yeah, I know.
But
it was really beautiful. So I worked with Tim to like, when we were putting the songs actually together, mixing the songs, I was like, we were oscillating between the two performances. Because, I mean, you were incredible in both. But there was something really, for me, about the live stuff that was nice and raw. And the pre-recorded stuff, you know,
it was more controlled. Yeah.
I think what you settled on is pitch perfect.
Yeah.
So Adelaide, obviously we have the singing, one challenge. You have to be able to sell your character's inner turmoil without explaining everything. There's like the jumping of timelines. When you first signed on for this movie, is there anything you circled as being like the most difficult challenge for you? And then ultimately, was that the most challenging thing, or did something else catch you by surprise?
It's not a challenge when you're doing work that you're so excited to do. I know that sounds really corny, but like the writing was so strong and great, and I trusted it. And then I was so excited to meet Lindsay, and immediately, like, we pretty quickly, I recognized that we communicate really well and we kind of speak the same language. And then you know you have that shorthand, especially like in independent film when you're doing the hours in the day, you know, and in a lot of the film, it's so important that we have that shorthand and we have the same taste.
Yeah,
you know,
so important.
That's really hard. Like, it's really rare to find that. And then, yeah, I mean, you know, the moving through time, I really don't want to give anything away about the story because, you know, I want an audience to experience this film as we read it and as you saw it. And I think it's really important that they don't know what you can use the word twist or reveal, whatever it is, because it's part of the storytelling. Like the structure, Kate's structure is it's telling us about the character's state of mind, and it's giving us her perspective on the situations that she's dealing with. And I just think I haven't seen a story that has commentary on these challenges in the way that this film does. So
I feel like I know exactly what you mean
yeah,
because
I
I've
know.
seen the movie.
I'm being so cryptic,
But what you're being cryptic about is done quite
Yeah.
beautifully, and that's not an easy thing to achieve in a film.
I promise you, it's worth it. Don't read the reviews.
I will. Please don't read reviews. I will just emphasize that it's very good. I love hearing about the magic that happens when you're on set that you can't expect. So even with all the prep you likely did for this movie, is there any particular scene that didn't come to life until you were physically on set filming it?
For me, it was the scene with Douglas in the living room. Because I feel like that was the first time we ever really got that scene on its feet.
with Matilda.
Yeah, with Matilda.
Yeah.
It was,
Yeah.
you guys, it was
Yeah.
so beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, and I remember I was behind camera, and we did one take and we finished it. I think we were on you. We finished it, and both Jordan, the cinematographer, and I looked at each other and we were like, "Oh wow, let's go again." It was really, yeah. It was. I mean, there were a lot of those on set because we didn't have much rehearsal time. It was to see you guys bring scenes to life was just so. Everyone was so instinctual and so lovely. It was really, it was a joy.
Yeah, I mean, we had one day of rehearsal before we went in, and there was a scene that originally we had kind of pictured in the living room as a pinnacle scene between Patrick and my character, and I mean that
was amazing.
that was really interesting because in the space I kind of like we're coming home, and I was like, I go to the kitchen. You know, like everyone just got you as well. I go to the kitchen. That's where I put my bag, and that's where I settle home. And it changed the scene because suddenly we weren't in this expansive living room. We were in a cramped kitchen, and we kind of were forced to be in the same space together. And it's a difficult scene. So things like that, like the house was so much a part of the story. Yeah. The production designer Diana was incredible, and you know, when you have all these like talented people together, things fall into place and yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome.
So many follow-ups. Bringing up the production design, is there any like little corner of the house production design that you could tease where it's a smaller detail that maybe isn't focused on heavily in camera, but it speaks to, you know, their history together and where they're at when we first meet them in the movie?
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
There were
everywhere.
books everywhere. There was there was art. There was and little changes that she made when the house is its own story too. Like it goes through
the bed, you know, what the bed meant and how it held, like it had, I mean,
I feel so bad asking you
I
guys.
know,
I know it's
I
so
know.
hard.
Yeah.
Here's another question I feel bad asking because I feel like I should be posing it to Douglas, but one thing that really caught me in this story was just like Owen's perspective on everything. There's just one line after the next where I'm like, let me write that line down and take it with me. So what do you think it is about him as a person and his past that, I don't know, gave him that kind of awareness and understanding when we see him in the movie?
Oh my gosh. Okay, you've got a great
I
answer.
put a lot of thought into that, so I wanted to know your take.
I mean, for me, I feel like Carey is imperfect. She's dealing, she's made a decision at some point, subconsciously or not, to engage with denial and just. And I think I think a lot of parents can probably relate to it, but she's dealt a really challenging deck of cards, and she is just coping. She's just coping, and I think Owen comes along, and he's kind of comfortable being imperfect, and that is what gives her permission to then. Look at herself, and and he kind of holds up a mirror to her. In a way.
All right, I'm going to have to let you guys go soon, but just to highlight some of your other incredible co-stars here, which two people would you say have the most unique way of approaching their work where when you're their scene partner, you know you're going to get a completely different experience acting on set?
Oh my God.
Even when I'm not teasing spoilers, it's still difficult.
I don't know. I mean, I felt so comfortable with everyone. You know, it felt really seamless. Like Douglas was perfect for Owen. When we met him, we were like, whoa, yeah. What? Like, did Kate know him before she wrote this? And then Patrick was so grounded and surprising, and he's so experienced, and he really kind of, God, he just kind of took charge in a way that was so liberating for me. And I think we needed that in Simon. We really needed someone with a lot of kind of gravitas. And then, of course, Kathleen is just, I mean, you're like so fortunate to have worked with her. And she's so experienced. She's so fun. She loves film. She loves filmmaking. She loves acting. It was, everybody wanted to be there, you know, and it was pretty special.
Yeah, it was very special.
Yeah. It's one of the most important things on any set out there. Before I let you go, one last question. If you two had a swearing jar, which bad word would have you adding the most money to that jar? And you can use the bad word now. It is okay.
Mine would be fuck.
Excellent choice.
I feel like you're not, you don't swear very much. I tend to.
Yeah, I don't know. I just make noises in a very over-exaggerated Australian accent.
I mean, I kind of want an example now.
I don't know. Yeah.
Only if you say one swear word.
Ah, shit.
Yes, that's it. That's the one.
All right, I will take that. Congratulations on your movie. I meant everything I said. It is wonderful, and I want a soundtrack. Like that's actually like, not a comment. That is a demand.
I
Give
want
me a
it
soundtrack
as a record. That would
Yes,
be
please.
incredible, wouldn't it?
You should talk to whoever's
I
over
know.
at like Waxworks or
Do some
Mondo. There could be some
records.
like, because you have a good poster for this movie. I feel like there's some really creative artwork that can be done on that.
You're so sweet.
Bring it on. I love it. Thank you so much
Thanks,
to everybody
guys.
out there. Keep an eye out for the swearing jar.
Thank you.
We'll see you with more conversations at the Supper Suite soon.